What's up, NBA fans? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy, JB, hosting the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew, by the way. Shy, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. For everyone who's tuning in, we always thank you for supporting Behind the Bench and subscribing to the channel to make this show the best that it can be. And without your support, the channel would not exist and the channel would not roll. But I wanted to share something. Recently heard from the voice of the Lakers owner, Jeanie Buss, right? She gave an interview recently on a radio show. And it was something that she said because, you know, the Laker brass, they can do nothing right. It's a catch-22. No matter what they do, it's not good enough. It's not going to be good enough. And I knew that going in. The way this deal was set up, you may get 1 year, and that's it. That's not winning. That's losing. That's not a winning mentality. That's a loser's mentality. See, when you watch this franchise win 10 titles in 30 years, you know what real championship ball looks like. Not just the Lakers, but anybody. Any team out there, any franchise, in any sport who has a long sustaining run. That's ultimately what you want in the world of professional sports. And she halfway alluded to that in an interview in regards to the decision to hire J.J. Redick as the new head coach of this franchise when he's never had any coaching experience at this level, or college, or high school. So I let everybody who believe in this situation, I let them figure it out. But this is something that she said that I want to share. Give me 1 second. I'm not the kind of person who try to mince words, so I'm going to post a snapshot of what she said. 1 second. This is a direct quote. And this was an interview she gave. As the quote reads, Lakers owner Jeanie Buss explained that the decision to hire Redick on local Los Angeles radio show Petros and Money, and that it was driven by a desire, check this out, a desire for a fresh perspective and a focus on developing young talent. Quote unquote, we wanted to kind of think a different way, Buss said, really, he's got a vision. I'm not comfortable talking about the basketball stuff, but we were looking for a candidate that would bring something different and really invest in developing young players. Let me read that one more time. If anybody think I'm trying to gym this up, let me read it one more time. See, my gut instinct and applying logic told me that going down this perilous road is going to lead to a lot of confusion and a desire to turn the clock back if there is any way human possible to do so. But we know we can't do that. So we have to try to respond accordingly based on the situation at hand. So let me repeat this one more time. This is what she said. We wanted to kind of think a different way. Really, he's got a vision. I'm not comfortable talking about the basketball stuff, but we were looking for a candidate that would bring something different and really invest in developing young players. See, when you read between the lines and when you truly understand what was given up, when you read between the lines, she's saying, we made a mistake going down this road. in regards to the basketball, not in regards to celebrity and profiting from trying to profit from having a certain person on the team who I call the eye of the hurricane. She is conceding that they never should have took this route because everything returned back full circle to the point of which they were before all this started. See, I was robbed. I was robbed as a fan to watch my players grow, just as we did with the late great Kobe Bean Bryant when he entered the NBA at 18 years old, just as we did with Derek Fisher coming out of Arkansas Little Rock. I had never heard of that school before. I had never heard of that school, program, college, university, never heard of it until Derek Fisher was drafted by the Lakers. Just like we did with Nick Van Exel coming out of the University of Cincinnati, just like we did with Eddie Jones coming out of the University of Temple, George Lynch, North Carolina, Anthony Peeler, University of Missouri. Elden Campbell, I believe he was drafted out of the University of Clemson. We got to watch them grow. That is a beautiful experience because when Kobe and Shaq started winning them championships, we went back to the beginnings when Kobe came into the NBA as a prodigious 18-year-old, skill off the charts, but he was 18. He had to work his way up. So when you look back, you're like, wow, man, Kobe, man, he had humble beginnings. Age of 18, he worked his way up. He had to go through the wars, the struggles, the pain. You know what I'm saying? And we watched him become a champion for the first time. And him and Shaq just started running the table because they went through the struggle. They had seen it all. So what I'm saying is, the same joy I got out of that was denied when the eye of the hurricane was brought to the franchise. But the problem is, we shouldn't be at this point where we should be developing young players because we already had them. Lock, stock, and barrel. We already had them. We already went through that phase. We be winning. I'm talking about winning the right way without, giving up the form. Luke Walton had more coaching experience than the guy they just brought in here a couple months ago. Luke Walton was the assistant coach for the Golden State Warriors. When Steve Kerr was dealing with that back injury, Luke Walton was the interim coach when the Golden State Warriors started the season with the best record after the first 25 or so games in the history of the NBA. And they went on to win 73 games. Luke Walton was part of that experience until Steve Kerr returned about maybe a third of the season in. And when Luke Walton was hired, man, everybody, the press, the pundits, people covering the team, people covering the NBA, they all said, man, this is a positive hire. You couldn't ask for a better coach to lead young men. And he had coaching experience. But because of impatience and bringing an eye hurricane, he was portrayed as being a bad coach. So my question is, if they're saying that about Luke Walton at the end of his tenure, what do they think is going to happen to J.J. Redick? See, the real deal starts in a couple of months. They can do all that talking about what they're going to do, what they think they're going to do, what they want to do, what they believe they can do. But opening night is a couple months away. My point is this. Everything returned back full circle. Because she know, in the grand scheme, that was the absolute wrong move. Get rid of that young core, man. Like I said, man, I know I sound like a broken record. I know I do. But see, this is for all the marbles. This ain't like making, a trade like you may make a big time trade once every 5 years. This organization been making trades since the day they brought the eye of the hurricane in. They traded out. They can't sign no free agents. Ain't nobody come. Nobody's gonna sign in this current representation of the Lakers franchise. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So what I'm trying to say is, at some point, honesty is gonna have to be applied. And I'm talking about in a respectful fashion. See, I'm not talking about trying to make someone look bad. But the situation is the situation. And somebody has to be real. Or else this franchise will fold like a tent for a very long time. That's where it's headed. That's where it's headed. But you notice what she said. She didn't say anything about winning a championship. She didn't say anything about that. She didn't see real championship runs before. She saw Kobe back in 09 and 010. She was given the bird's eye view. She know what's up. The problem is, and this is why I speak up for that young core. This is why I speak up for Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr., Ivica Zubac, Thomas Bryant, Alex Caruso. This is why I speak up for them. Because everything is full circle now. And what she's understanding is, no matter what superstar or, pairing up of superstars that you try to, bring forth, they can't replace what you was supposed to have, what you was meant to have. And that's the problem. And, when you really see it for what it is, you will receive a lot of pushback. But I don't mean what you're saying isn't true and is not real. It can be backed by facts, metrics, precedent, history, the whole shebang. So as she said one more time, we want to kind of think a different way, but said, really, he's got a vision. I'm not comfortable talking about the basketball stuff, but we were looking for a candidate that would bring something different and really invest in developing young players. See, what's happening is they're trying to, this is what's happening. This is basically what's happening to the Lakers right now. They're trying to come up with a way to where they can bridge the gap that is pending by keeping two superstars on the team. Because they feel this is the best way to, how can I say, mask what lingers ahead. So in other words, instead of bottoming out, breaking this whole situation up, getting control of the franchise back, where you will take a hit, and they mind is like, okay, we may get lucky and win 46, 47 games, and we make the playoffs. See, the bar's already been lowered. We make the playoffs, but we just don't bottom out. And, hopefully the young players that we brought in here will adjust and start to thrive. See, what I'm trying to say is they're trying to cover for the loss of their young core. But if you develop the team appropriately, the way it was set up, they'd be winning more games per season. They would have mature talent out there by now that would be reaching their potential. The chemistry would be down pat. Your system is pretty much automatic. You know, your system of play as a team is automatic by now. And you keep on bringing in young players. And you can always sign a key free agent here and there to fill a need. But everything is in flux, man. But trying to rely on the past greatness to justify why they made the decision that they made, but the decision that they made is counterproductive to why the Lakers became great in the first place. So as these two individuals, well, Jeanie Buss and Rob Pelinka, keep on catching all this heat, well, it's the situation that's causing all this chaos and all this, how can I say it, unpredictably predictable, but predictably unpredictable at the same time. A la the Matrix. Whatever you want to call it. Being trapped in the sunken place. That's where they at right now. What I'm trying to say is, before, right after she took took a majority control of the franchise, she acknowledged that she was not an expert as far as basketball team building process. But at the same time, she knew what real championship basketball looks like. And she knows that the gig is up. But they also realize that most of the fans will have a very difficult time coming to the terms of what lies ahead. So they're relying on popularity, manufactured history being made to keep the name going. But it's going to be short-lived. It will not sustain itself, because what she said as to the reason why they hired J.J. Redick, well, that was Luke Walton 8 years ago when they hired him to be the head coach. But he had coaching experience, though. See, no matter what you do, you can't circumvent real team building and the process and what is required of that. And the patience and understanding is going to take some time. The Detroit Pistons had to go through it back in the day. The Chicago Bulls had to go through it back in the day. The Spurs, to a degree, back in the day. Golden State started from the bottom and worked their way up. Denver, after the Carmelo Anthony years and the Ty Lawson and Kenneth Faried and all them guys. It's a process. And nobody can circumvent that. Not even the Los Angeles Lakers. Boston has went through it over the past 7 years. And like I said, the biggest element to this franchise is what they gave up. It had more value, more relevance, long-term, than any decision that they have made over these past 6 seasons, going into year 7 of the the era of the eye of the hurricane. So I feel, I feel gratified in a sense, because I don't want no shortcuts. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't want no shortcuts. Whatever step that you have to take to become truly great, that's what I wanted to see this franchise accomplish. And they would have surprised themselves. But instead, they sold themselves short. And they're further and further away from their goal after basically mortgaging a decade for 82 games. That's essentially what happened. They mortgaged a decade for 82 games. So I just wanted to share that with the populace. And it's not surprising to me. But until next time, this is JB for BTB behind the bench.